What's up, everybody? It's Lauren and Elizabeth from Flip Flops Animal Sanctuary, and if you don't know, Elizabeth has become quite the celebrity lately, as her video with me taking her off of the nest has gone quite viral, getting nearly 4 million views over the last couple of weeks. And we get a lot of questions. That video has almost 2,600 comments on it, and so a lot of those comments are asking the same questions. So we thought we would do a little quick Q&A here for y'all. So one of the most common suggestions that I see from everybody is to put fake eggs under Elizabeth. Well, that works for some birds, but for Elizabeth it doesn't. The way Elizabeth ended up here on the sanctuary is her with her sister Victoria, who also lives on the sanctuary. They were sitting on a nest of eggs, and they'd been sitting there for around 7 weeks or so because they were infertile. And if you don't know, sometimes birds just won't get up. They will just sit forever until they die because they won't eat much of anything while on the nest, and they don't drink a lot either, and they don't get exercise. So essentially, they just waste away if they don't end up with a baby. That's the only acceptable end result for them. And that's the way Elizabeth is. And so fake eggs would not help her. Another reason why I discourage anyone from using fake eggs is you have to have consideration for your local wildlife. And so the black snakes or other snakes in your area, rat snakes, a lot of snakes will eat eggs. And snakes are generally a beneficial animal to have around, especially if they're non-venomous snakes. But even the venomous ones, if you leave them be and stay out of their way, they're fine too. But we have a lot of black snakes here on the sanctuary, and I consider the eggs they take as just a payment for the very important service that they provide, which is rodent control. The last thing you want is to have be overrun by mice or rats or anything like that. And so we encourage the black snakes around here. That's the most common large snake that we find. I actually have a lot of videos of me handling them. I really enjoy them. They're very docile creatures, and once you pick them up, generally they're not aggressive towards you at all. But snakes don't know the difference between a fake egg and a real egg, and if they eat a fake egg, it's a death sentence for them. And so we have a lot of consideration and compassion for our surrounding wildlife. And while, our mission here is to care for these birds and the animals on our sanctuary, we also want to be mindful of our neighbors around us. So that's why we don't do fake eggs. Let's see. Adopt the baby. Adopt a baby for Elizabeth. Well, we do. We do accept occasional intakes. Right now, we're pretty well at capacity due to, funding restrictions. But when occasionally we do get a baby brought here to the sanctuary, and if they're a good fit, we will raise them here and allow them to, live here on sanctuary. But we're pretty much at capacity right now. An important thing and one of the most difficult things about running a sanctuary is having the ability to say no and to turn an animal away. That's definitely ranks up there in the top 5 hardest things about running a sanctuary, because there's an animal, you have the knowledge to help that animal, but you just don't have the funding to take care of it or capacity. And your first responsibility is with the animals you're already caring for. And if you don't have that ability to turn an animal away and say no, what ends up happening is your existing animal's level of care will suffer, and you end up becoming a hoarder rather than a sanctuary. And that's not good for anybody. You need to be able to, reliably, acquire feed for them, raise enough money and pay for their feed. They need to have enough bedding so that they can stay healthy. You can't sacrifice on bedding. They need to have clean, dry bedding every day. Otherwise, you end up with foot sores and other types of ailments. And you need to be able to cover veterinary expenses when they come up, and they are very expensive when they come up. I have a one-legged rooster that's got a $3,000 vet bill, that we had to cover, and thankfully we were able to do that with the support of our following. And so that's why we don't just adopt a baby every time Elizabeth goes broody. While I would love it, there's nothing cuter than a baby goose. It's just not a responsible action for the sanctuary. When we get enough following and we get enough people on our Patreon and we get enough donations regularly, we can consider expanding the sanctuary. But right now, these 70 plus animals we care for regularly, is a big enough financial challenge for us, and we don't want to sacrifice on their quality of care. Um, why not get Elizabeth an implant? Well, there's a few reasons why. We've gone that route before in other birds and had poor results. They generally work okay from my understanding in chickens, but in other types of birds, it's more unknown. And we did an implant in another species once, and they were just constantly hormonal. They were miserable. It was actually a turkey hen. Her head was red nonstop for like 6 weeks, and she was just, imagine being in a constant state of hot flash. That's basically how she was. It was very expensive. If my memory serves, between the vet visit and the implant, it was nearly $500. So we don't do implants. We just don't think it's right to mess with their body chemistry. Elizabeth will go through this for about 6 weeks to 8 weeks or so, and then her body will naturally stop producing eggs, and she'll get back to normal. So that's why we don't do implants. Let her have just one baby. Well, I kind of already answered that. Hold on, you all right, Lizzie? You need to put your feet up here? Okay. Are you okay, baby? It's okay. Let her have just one baby. Well, that goes back to the same reason of why we don't adopt a baby, due to, funding restrictions. And the other issue is, or not, the other issue is we don't hatch anything here on the sanctuary. Every animal that we would hatch would take up resources and space that an animal that's already in this world and in need of help could have. So it doesn't make sense to breed animals into this world when the shelters, there's plenty of animals in need out there already. So again, doing that would kind of go against what we're here for, which is to help animals that are already here. And really, if you come across a sanctuary that is breeding animals, either through intention or just not paying attention to what's going on and not having good animal management practices, they're not a sanctuary, in my opinion. They are a hobby farm, and there's nothing wrong if you want to have a hobby farm, but you shouldn't put yourself out there as a sanctuary. The other issue is not only is our first responsibility to the animals in our care, that they will always be our top priority, and we will always make the decisions that's best for them. But we also have a secondary priority and responsibility, which is to our donors. And when someone sends us their hard-earned money, because I know every dollar these days especially is difficult to come by, when someone sends us their hard-earned money to support these animals, that is a great responsibility and a huge privilege, and I don't take it lightly, and I make sure that every last dime that comes onto the sanctuary from our donors goes to the best use possible, and that is not by supporting a hobby farm or a breeding program or something like that. It is to help and reach out and help all of the animals out there that need it, that are neglected and need of a safe haven. And so I take your donations very seriously, and we don't use them for a hobby farm just because we think babies are cute. And believe me, I think that there is nothing cuter than a baby goose, and a baby goose is way cuter than a baby chicken or a baby duck, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on. Y'all can fight me on that in the comments if you want, but all you duck people out there, you don't hold a candle to a baby goose. They're cute. Baby ducks are a 9, but a baby goose is a 500, so that's as close as you're going to get. Sorry, I'll die on that hill. Let's see. Adopt out the baby. Well, that goes, that's another thing, discussion about adoption, is to let her hatch it, to get that out of her system, and then adopt the baby out. We don't do that for the same reason I just discussed as to why we don't hatch animals here. Adopting the baby, and the same thing for selling them. We do not sell animal products or their bodies, because we believe animals should not be considered just things that you can sell because you want to. These are living beings with personalities, and they form social structures. If she was to hatch a baby here, it would stay here their whole life. And so I wouldn't want to break up the family, is one of the reasons. But the other reason is, like I said before, there's already plenty of animals out there that need help. I'm not going to produce more animals for people just so they can have a cute little baby goose. If you want to help a goose, if you want to have a goose, if you want something like that on your farm, trust me, reach out to the Humane Society. Reach out to you could just go on TikTok or Instagram and search out some local farm rescues in your area, there's bound to be, with a little bit of homework and a little due diligence, you're going to be able to find an animal that's already in this world that is in desperate need of your help and support. There's no need to be supporting breeders or, God forbid, hatcheries. Hatcheries are absolutely the worst. You know, things like your feed supply stores, don't support these people, these horrible companies, by, by buying live birds. That's a whole nother video. But these birds, for every male, I'm sorry, every female bird you get, whether it's a goose, a duck, or a chicken, there is a male bird that was killed the day it was born. So that's what you support when you give your money to these feed stores and buy live animals from them. That's what you support. And that's a whole nother video. I'm not going to go off on that. That's literally, this video would be 3 hours long. I can talk about the atrocities that are the feed stores in another video. So we covered selling the baby. Was the egg fertilized? Probably. There's boys on this farm, and Elizabeth ain't shy. So there's probably fertilized. Just because the egg's fertilized doesn't mean there was a baby in there. I did not kill her baby. I did not steal her baby. But unless the goose had sat on it for several days, there's nothing in there. It's just the raw materials. Nothing started. There's no veins or arteries or heartbeat, or there's nothing. There's literally nothing. It's just a bunch of cells. And so don't worry, I did not steal her baby. And if I didn't remove her from that nest, she would get very unhealthy. How we doing? Am I running out of time? Elizabeth is telling me that I'm running out of time with her patients. How we doing, baby? Oh, you are the best lady. Let's see. Do we have time for a couple more? Real quick, did we eat the egg, and what did we do with the egg? That'll be the last question. No, we don't eat the eggs. We're all vegans here on the sanctuary. We believe it's important, if you're running a farmed animal sanctuary, that you should live a lifestyle that aligns with your values and what you're putting out there. I don't understand how anyone could be claiming to rescue animals, especially farm animals, and then still exploit them by consuming their flesh and the products of their bodies. So we are all of the board members of the sanctuary are vegan. The entire property is vegan. We don't allow meat products on the property, and we live a vegan lifestyle. It's not just a, oh, Elizabeth says I'm out. Hey, okay, I caught you. Okay, just one more minute. But we live a vegan lifestyle. We don't use any animal products in our clothing or in our personal care items, or we don't buy anything with animal products in it whatsoever. So no, we don't eat the egg. What do we do with the egg? All the eggs are fed back to the birds. The bulk of an egg is technically bird food for that bird. As it is developing inside of the egg, that bird is going to use most of the egg that you see on the inside. Most of that is going to be consumed by the bird growing inside of it. And so that egg makes great nutrition to feed back to the birds. It cuts down on our feed bills. Also, the eggshells are fed back to the birds because specifically the females. We give the eggshells back to the females because the girls are really good at self-regulating their calcium needs. So if she knows, she feels it. If she needs more calcium, she'll eat those eggshells. And if she's feeling fine, she won't even touch them. Most of the time, they happily gobble the eggshells back up if the chickens don't come and steal them first. All right. I think that answers most of the common questions. I really appreciate everyone's comments. Like I said, we got over 2,600 comments. I have read every single one of them, believe it or not. It is one of my favorite things to do. I'm so grateful to everyone who has followed us and likes our videos and watches our videos. We have a goal. We're trying to get to 10 million short views within the next 60 days. If we can do that, we will be able to monetize this channel. And if we can monetize this channel, we will be able to help fund the sanctuary so much better without having to rely on the donations from others. And that will allow us to eventually open our doors back up and allow us to start taking on more animals and rescuing more animals. So when you watch our videos, especially when you watch them to the end in our long format videos and our short videos, when you share them, when you like them, when you comment on them, all of those actions are a positive and proactive way for you to support the work we do here without having to donate to us directly if you're not able. We always appreciate donations. We take all the common donation routes. You got your PayPal, your Cash App, your Venmo. You can send a check right to the sanctuary if you want. Our address is in our Instagram profile. All of that stuff. We have a Patreon if you want to support us on an ongoing basis. You can join our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. It's like half a Starbucks coffee. But you know, if you're not able to do any of that, we certainly understand times are tough. But you know, just watching and sharing our videos really helps, and we really appreciate everything. All right, I'm done rambling. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you got any more questions for Elizabeth, if I get enough of them, we'll do another Q&A. Elizabeth hasn't. How about a thumbs up if nothing else for this beautiful girl, because she has just been sitting here so patiently. She's so wonderful. I love you, Elizabeth. I love you, darling. All right. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. I love you, baby. I love you. I love you. It's a beautiful. It's a beautiful lady. It's a beautiful. Oh, you don't want me to start this one. I love you. I do. I do. Beautiful. It's the most beautiful you be. It's the most beautiful. It's the most beautiful. The most beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. You did such a good job.